Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Before moving on for the poem, let's know about the poet who was born in 1904 and died in 1973. Pablo Neruda was the pen name and later legal name of his famous Chilean poet, diplomat, politician. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. He wrote in green ink, which was his personal symbol for desire and hope. His writings are simple, wherein lies the beauty. Originally written in Spanish, the essence of this poem is based on introspection and retrospection. The poet feels that some soul searching is needed for us to be at peace with ourselves and others. The first stanza. Now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. The explanation of the above lines. The poet here requests everyone to count till 12 in their own mind and to stop for a while maybe this 12 referred by the poet is the 12 hours in the clock or the 12 months in a year. He wants everyone to stop and calm down. The poet urges everyone not to speak any language, as we all know that there are different languages spoken in different parts of earth, which sometimes become a barrier in our way for peace. So he asks people not to speak. Not only this, he also wants us to stop moving our arms. By using the words arms, he means the weapons which are used by different countries to wage a war against each other. So basically, the poet is demanding peace from all of us. The literary devices used here: assonance, the use of vowel sound O and E; anaphora, two consecutive lines starting with the word let's; alliteration, the repetition of a consonant sound at the start of two or more closely placed words. The second stanza says, it would be an exotic moment, without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the men gathering salt would look at its hurt hands. The explanation. Poet says that it would be a rare situation when there will be no engines working. Here, he wants to say that if everything comes to a standstill, it will be a very different moment. If all the engines like the vehicles and machines stop, then there will be a sudden strange situation as the world will experience a sudden calmness. People will not be in a rush to achieve material things one after another. Further, the poet says that the fishermen will also stop and not harm whales in the sea. This means that the poet is urging everyone not to harm the animals. Here he gives the examples of whales which are being hunted for the purpose of food or trade. He also wants the people to calm down so that they can stop and see what they have achieved or lost. For this, he gives the example of men who gather salt, whose hands are hurt. Here he wants everyone to stop for a while in order to see and feel their achievements and how much they have lost for the sake of attaining such materialistic things. Literary devices. Alliteration is being used in the word W and S here. Moving for the third stanza. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would be put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. What I want should be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. The poet asks everyone to stop those activities which are damaging the environment. Today, all the human beings are making money by damaging the environment with their activities such as mining, deforestation, letting the chemical waste into rivers, etc. The poet asks us not to do so. He also requests people not to involve in wars as there is no benefit of achieving such victory in which no one is left alive. He says so because wars and environmental damage will lead to no life on earth. Rather, he wants people to adopt a new approach towards life and mankind. He says that you should treat your enemy like brothers and promote peace and harmony in the world. Literary devices are alliteration in the word WNAC, assonance, and repetition of the word war. The fourth stanza: if we were not so single minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could perhaps a huge silence might interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Now, the poet wants to clarify to his readers that when he asks them to stop from saying or doing anything, he doesn't want anyone to become a non active person. Non active is a person who remains idle and doesn't do anything. He simply means that he should stop and see the consequences of our deeds. The poet doesn't want to see people being killed due to their greed for money and expansion of territories. Further, he says that people are continuously working to achieve their tasks without even thinking about their results. They are in fear of death and therefore want to achieve most of the things before their death. Here, he urges them to stop for a while and take some moment to relish on what they have achieved till now. Everyone here is living a life in which he wants to achieve various things, one after the another. But now, the poet says it is the time to stop and see what has been achieved and should be enjoyed. This will help us escape the sadness which has become so prominent in our lives. Sadness of not enjoying what we have achieved and the greed to achieve what next is in the list of to be achieved. Literary devices, alliteration, and enchantment. The last para. Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. So now the poet suggests to the human beings that we should learn a lesson from earth. During the winters, everything freezes and becomes lifeless. But when season changes and it's the onset of spring season, everything present in the nature, such as the trees, birds, rivers, etc., gets life. So here the poet, by giving the example of nature, wants to say that all the human beings should stop and try to judge their deeds. They can try and make their life better with calmness, peace. Finally, he ends up by saying that now he will count up to 12 so that we all may become quiet. Here, quiet means to calm down ourselves and move towards the path of peace and harmony. After saying this, he says, I'll go. He says so as he has conveyed his message to the people and wants them to be left alone to think about it and work in the direction of peace. This is all about the poem. Here is the summary attached with the presentation for you people. Hope you'll understand it better and like it. Thank you. See you in my next video.